can recall watching the numbers in the church I grew up in decline more and more. It seemed like every week there were fewer people present. And then we started a contemporary service, which caused even more strife in our congregation. I mean, we had lots of programming, lots of space, lots of Sunday schools and adult groups, a great youth program, but we didn't really do much in our community. One day, our congregation gathered for a meeting. The leaders wanted us all to get together and discuss a new vision and a new mission for our church, to see if we could be united in a single direction to serve others in our community. But that meeting didn't really go the way the leaders planned. Instead of us gathering together and being united in a single direction, it became an ode to the past. There were so many people standing up and saying, "Back when," or "Remember when." And it was all topped off by one member saying very loudly that unless our mission statement mentioned fiscal responsibility, he would never vote for it. In the mission statement of the church. As a teenager, witnessing this meeting taking place in our sanctuary, I was shocked at the state of our church. I hadn't known it before, but it was in that moment that I realized we had many symptoms of being sick. Even though we still had lots of money, even though we still had a rather large congregation, even though we still had lots of programming, I realized we had symptoms of illness. So what does a church do once it realizes that it's got some symptoms of being sick? Should they just close up shop? Well, the church I grew up in went from symptoms to sick to nearly dead before it turned itself around. So there is hope. In this chapter, Rainer offers us 4 responses that we can use if we see that our church has some symptoms of sickness. The first one, he says, is we can pray that God will open the eyes of our leadership and the members for opportunities to reach into the community where the church is located. We can pray that we'll start to see opportunities where we can reach out. And we need to make sure that we're reaching out into the community and that we are living the Great Commission. The second response is that we can take an honest audit of how our church members spend their time involved. We need to look at ourselves and see if we're spending too much time just on maintenance and tradition for the sake of maintenance and tradition. Are we spending all of our time doing things just because that's the way we've been doing things? The third response is we can take an audit of how the church spends its money. Are we spending our money on people and activities that serve God outside of these walls, or is it all being spent on us? And the fourth thing is that we can make specific plans to minister and evangelize to our community. We can sit down and really think it out and decide this is how we're going to share Jesus with our neighbors. These 4 responses are full of hope for the roughly 150,000 churches in the United States that are thought to have symptoms of being sick. All 4 of these things are doable. They're doable changes. Yes, they might be a little difficult to get started because we'd have to change, but they're doable. And they'll actually be rather easy to continue once we've done them. But changing the culture of a church from symptoms of sickness to healthy doesn't happen overnight. It takes energy. It takes involvement. It takes commitment. It takes you.